My mother's creepy boyfriend demands that I pay him $340 after he repaired my laptop and bought me new glasses, despite the fact that I never asked him to do either of those things. Because right now, my mom is not helping me, and this guy is treating me like garbage, demanding that I not buy anything else until he gets paid. And at this point, I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. I'm a 21-year-old female, and due to personal circumstances, I moved in with my mother and her boyfriend for a few months leading up to Christmas. My mom has wanted me to move in for years, which I refused after being in care for a short period of time. Now, around the same time, my mom sat on my glasses and snapped the hinge and the arm off of them. After a few attempts to fix them, it was clear that they were irreparable. I use my glasses for reading my TV screen, as the small writing can be blurry, but my vision otherwise is 100% fine. Now, I also have an Asus VivoBook laptop, which costs about $300, and it was broken. Well, my mother's boyfriend surprises me one morning with not only new glasses, but also my laptop completely fixed. Now, he took it out of a communal drawer without telling me, which made me uncomfortable, and the computer had been completely wiped, which he went ahead with without even asking me. He then paid for it to be upgraded with lots of extra storage. Time goes by, and my mom tells me that he wants the money back for the laptop and storage upgrades. And I tried to explain that it felt really weird, and she agreed, but said this was something that he often did, and that if I wanted to keep the piece, then I simply had to pay him back. He also refused to tell me how much it cost to fix it. I was supposed to just give him money, and he would tell me when it was paid back. Now, I'm a people pleaser by nature, and I didn't want to rock the boat, so I agreed to pay and I gave him $120. I then asked again for the price, and I was told that he had the receipt and he would show me. Well, guess what? He never did. I then gave him another $80 and was told that it was all paid back. Well, fast forward months later, and he is now demanding $140 for the glasses, which is super annoying because I could have gotten a free replacement through my health coverage. I'm being heavily guilted every day for not paying him. I even got myself some food a week ago and was told that it was rude and not to do it again until I pay him back. Now, the receipt for the glasses has still not materialized either. For reference, my mom has exactly zero income. She has no job and no benefits. So even though she broke the glasses, she still can't pay for them. If I had the expendable money to fling away $340, I definitely would do that, but I don't. I have tried to be fair in the situation, and to be clear, I had said multiple times I was going to get my laptop fixed and I was going to get a free pair of new glasses, and these were presented to me as a surprise gift. This guy is also very rude to me all the time. He called me a jerk recently, if the word jerk started with the letter C, if you know what I mean, and the environment around the house has been so bad, I never leave my room unless he's at work in order to avoid his many sly comments. If he was kinder to me, it would be much easier for me to just give him the money when I'm able to. I have found myself waking up, thinking about the situation, and basically tossing and turning, unable to sleep, all because of my anger, which really is very unlike me. So truly, am I the jerk in this situation for not having this money at the drop of the hat? Because right now I'm very frustrated and I don't know what to do. No, this is so weird. Why would this guy do this? Like, this guy literally took your belongings and said, "Here you go, I fixed them for you," and then demands that you pay him for services you never asked of him. Like, this guy's a total weirdo. Like, what is wrong with him? For me personally, the fact that he took your laptop and cleared it out and added extra storage and gave it back to you, like, that is really sketchy, and I would never use that laptop. Like, I would actually make sure that's really cleared out and there's not some kind of like secret spyware on there. I don't know if there's some way you can reset the laptop, but if I was in your shoes, I would scrub that thing down head to toe just to make sure nothing's in it. Because based on this guy's behavior, I can believe that he would do something sketchy like this. And seriously, why is your mom okay with this too? She's sitting here talking about not rocking the boat. Meanwhile, her boyfriend is going out of his way to basically scam your daughter. Like, this whole scenario is so weird, and the fact that you're basically being extorted to pay for something you never wanted, in my opinion, is incredibly inappropriate. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. Also, go to amithejerk.com/submit if you would like to submit your own stories. My restaurant job has brought in some of the weirdest customers I've ever had to deal with, and after putting up with this for 3 years, I'm now questioning everything I've ever had going on, because right now, I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. Okay, so I've been at said restaurant for about 3 years now, and I've been serving there for most of those 3 years. Every year around the holidays, such as Thanksgiving and Christmas, is usually amazing. Customers usually watch you bust your butt, and typically they tip really well for it. But as of today, it seems as if a bunch of jerks have popped out of the woodworks. We did have some crazy coupons going on, and I know that brings out the worst in people, but a total of 2 tables actually used said coupons, so that really shouldn't be an excuse. The first table that really made me question my existence was one that had 5 people, but instead of taking a booth that can fit up to like 7 people, they demanded to push 2 tables together to make an 8-top. Now, because it's Thanksgiving week, that really messed us over later on. My next table flat up screamed at me because of something corporate decided to start doing a year ago, which is like, sure, whatever, I can't control that. They also tipped me 10% because what they ordered had an upcharge. And again, I don't get paid hourly and I'm not corporate, so I don't know what they want me to do about it. My last table said I was the best server they've ever had, but then they proceeded to tip me $1 on a $40 tab. He also chugged 10 sweet teas in the hour he was there, and yes, I was counting. And that was also when my mental stability actually left my body. However, that was my last table of the day, so I left after that. The table that actually did it for me was my mid-shift. They are regular customers that are apparently gluten-free. However, they ordered nothing to match that. They sent back their salads 3 times. And I could say the first one was genuinely my fault and I told them that. I mean, we are all human and we mess up from time to time. But the second time, the complaint was that their roasted chicken was too peppery. And as a side note, our roasted chicken is not only dry, but it's also unseasoned. It seriously just tastes like dry turkey. I told her I can do it without the protein so it's not peppery, since you can't do non-existent seasoning. Then they wanted to buy $200 worth of gift cards, which again, no problem there. We actually have a contest to see who sells the most, and it puts my name in a hat, so that's fine by me. But then they tried to pay with said gift card, but then 10 minutes later, I realized that we cannot take gift card purchases with a gift card. This is my first year selling gift cards, so it definitely took me on a wild goose chase. I then tell them that I can only do the food with said coupon, and they were fine with me splitting it like that. However, the buy one get one coupon went off that check as soon as I split it. So without me or the customers realizing that I did this, I ran the card through without any of that on there, which then turned into another problem where I had to void the whole check and do it again. And by the way, this is all happening while I have 8 other tables to take care of. Anyways, after the whole hour they were there, as well as the 15 refills that they got, I ended up getting a 10% tip. They didn't even pay for 2 of the $12 salads, and I did all of that for 10%, plus these people come in all the time. So truly, with all due respect, I think people like this should not be allowed to go out, and it should be okay to tell people don't come back. So am I overreacting or am I crazy in this scenario? Or is there something in the air that's making people act like idiots? Because right now, I really don't know what to do. Yeah, I've been in this situation before where it seems like, man, everybody is out of their minds. Nobody's acting like a normal human being, and everybody's just off their rocker. So no, I don't think you were overreacting, but I definitely think this is just one of those situations that definitely can happen in the restaurant business. Because trust me, I agree with everything that you had to say. Am I the jerk for leaving in the middle of Thanksgiving dinner? All because of the way that my mom treated me. Here's what happened. Okay, so my mother hosts Thanksgiving dinner at her house every single year. It's a small family event with my parents, me, my brother's family, and my sister-in-law's family attending. Now, we avoid family quarrels by implementing a strict no politics rule and trying our very best to be civil. I should probably also mention that we are not a particularly close-knit family. We rarely see each other beyond these events, since my brother lives in South Africa and I travel a lot due to my work. Thanksgiving is important to my mom since it's one of the rare times that we're all together. Anyways, the main problem that I have with my mother is her constant critique of me. She has a habit of making passive-aggressive comments about my life choices, from my career to my lack of children, all the way up to the way that I dress. I've addressed this with her multiple times, but she doesn't really seem to be aware of it. My father claims it's just her way of fussing and expressing that she does care, but it does hurt though, because my brother is never criticized in the same manner. I cannot entirely fault her for her criticism, since I did majorly mess up my life a few months ago, and it has affected her opinion of me negatively. It does not excuse the way that I acted, but I just wanted to explain why I left. By the time we finished dinner, I was a bit prickly because of some of her commentary. Now, for reference, I made a cake for dessert. I was explicitly put in charge of it, and no one specified what exactly I should make. So I opted to make a maple cheesecake. I did my best, and honestly, I thought it looked okay. My mom normally makes pumpkin pies, but I really hate pumpkins, so I thought perhaps we could try something new. As I was bringing out the cheesecake, my mom looked at it somewhat wearily and announced that she had decided to make the usual pie as well. This caught me off guard. I asked why she didn't tell me beforehand, and she said something like, "Well, we figured that you would do your own thing, so I thought it was best to have a backup plan." She then went on to cut the pie and serve it to everybody, instructing me to leave the cheesecake in the kitchen. When someone asked to try my dessert, she said, "Let's not mix too too many flavors at once, which honestly felt passive-aggressive. I know it's immature for an adult to get this upset over a triviality, but I just politely refused as she was handing me a slice of pie. And then I decided to retrieve my coat and I left the party. People were calling after me, I think, but by that point, I was crying for some reason, and it would have been too humiliating to have an emotional outburst in front of everyone for no reason. My mom then just texted me, saying that it was incredibly rude and immature of me to leave like that, especially on Thanksgiving. My brother also sent me a message saying that I'm acting irrationally. I feel horrible for leaving so abruptly, especially because my parents are getting older, and we are already not that close. Something about my mother seems to turn me into a neurotic teenager, and I honestly hate it. So am I the jerk in this situation? What should I do? No, I don't think you're the jerk at all, because seriously, your mom sounds like a piece of garbage. Like, she really does sound like a nasty piece of work, and I completely understand why you're not that close to her. Like, she could have been so much better about this entire situation without being a massive jerk about it in the process. But instead, she chooses to be nasty for literally no other reason other than just to put you down one more time. And I completely understand where you're coming from. Sometimes those passive-aggressive remarks can be worse than anything more pointed. So no, I don't think you're the jerk at all, and I know if I was in your shoes, I would question ever going back to her house again on any other kind of holiday, because it really seems like this kind of treatment is definitely going to happen. This next story came from the Am I the Jerk subreddit. Check the links in the description if you would like to submit your own story. Am I the jerk for choosing my boyfriend's family over mine for Thanksgiving dinner? Because after I left to go to my boyfriend's house, my mom has been guilt-tripping me hard, saying that I'm abandoning my family all because I agreed to eat at my boyfriend's house. And right now, I feel very frustrated and I don't know what to do. Here's what happened. I'm a 23-year-old female, and I spent Thanksgiving with my boyfriend's family, and now my parents are upset. My family has never been big on Thanksgiving. We've never had a traditional dinner together, and most years, I've either just worked or done my own thing. Every once in a while, my mom will make food, but it's just there for us to eat whenever we wanted. In fact, we would never just sit down and eat as a family. Also, this kind of ended during my high school years. Well, this year, my boyfriend invited me to his family's Thanksgiving, but initially I declined since my dad mentioned that he might invite his family over, which would have been an absolute first. But when I followed up with my dad the day before Thanksgiving, he said it wasn't happening after all. So I told my mom that I'd go to my boyfriend's dinner at 12 o'clock, and seriously, she seemed okay with it. But when I was getting ready to leave the next day, my mom was cooking and told me, well, you better eat with your brother and sister before leaving to eat with another family. The food should be ready in about 2 hours. Now, at this point, it's about 11:30 in the morning, so I told her that I couldn't because I wanted to be on time for my boyfriend's dinner, and also because I was bringing the apple cider for the dinner, and his dad had gotten us movie tickets. But then in that moment, my parents got really mad and said that I was forgetting my roots, and that I had chosen my boyfriend's family over them. Now, if I knew that my mom was still cooking and wanting us to eat together first, I wish he would have told me last night, so I would have told my boyfriend's mom that I would be there to eat with them, or even to go to the movies afterward. Now, I felt bad, but still I left the next day, and my mom is still saying that I picked my boyfriend's family over them and all this other stuff, and I just honestly don't think it's that serious. Also, a while ago, she said she's going to stop calling to check on me when I come in late after work past 7 o'clock p.m. because I told her I'm 23 and I don't need her to call me if I'm not home by 7, which apparently she took offense to, and now she's saying that this is going to be another one of the things that she won't bother me about, since apparently I see nothing wrong with not eating with family first. So I told her that I'm not sure what that situation has to do with any of this, and that she's being petty and weird. I honestly think my parents are just not used to their kids having a significant other, and they just don't know how to react to certain things, because none of my siblings have ever been with someone before. Now, I say this because there's been so many other things that they are very overprotective about, especially when it comes to my dating life and me spending time with my boyfriend, that I honestly just don't want to get into. Also, I live with my parents and siblings, and I see and speak to them every single day, so it's not like I'm abandoning them or never gonna see them again. So truly, am I the jerk in this situation? Because right now, I really don't know what to do. No, I don't think you're the jerk because your dad literally said the day before that a family dinner is not happening. So for your mom to suddenly be like, oh yeah, we're gonna be eating in like 2 hours, you need to be here. It's like, nope, I'm sorry, I can't do that. You literally made commitments somewhere else and you have to honor those. Plus, your family never eats together for dinner. Like, this is not something that ever happens, and it literally almost seems spur of the moment, all because you're deciding to go somewhere else. Like, it really comes off like your mom is just using this as an excuse to be petty, instead of this being some like legitimate criticism about you and the family. So no, I don't think you're the jerk here, and if anything, I think your mom's being a petty weirdo. weirdo, because the way she's acting, in my opinion, is completely unhinged, and you do not deserve this kind of treatment in the slightest. Am I the jerk for calling my mom a toddler and telling her that I no longer trust her with my money, because after she scammed me out of my reimbursement for buying Thanksgiving dinner, I now seriously don't trust her, and at this point, I really don't know what to do. Here's what happened. I'm a 19-year-old female, and I went grocery shopping on Thanksgiving for the household, which for the record, I couldn't afford, but I was also operating on the assumption that my mother would reimburse me the cost, as she had agreed to do so before I left. I also kept it under $150 as also agreed upon. However, today she gave me only a portion of that money, and in the note that she left me, she noted that she had given me the money and implied that I had been lying about the costs in order to get more money out of her. I showed her my recent transaction history proving that I wasn't lying, but she then accused me of misremembering what she had agreed to. She said to me, "I never said I would cover everything. I only said I would give you some of the money." Now, as an important side note, she is convinced that I'm lying about virtually everything because when I was younger, I had manipulated her various times out of desperation in some kind of attempt to hang out with my friends and comb the city for extracurricular activities. She was one of those parents who were obsessed with crime statistics, so she never allowed me to venture beyond a mile away from home regardless of the time or day. And as a result, the nature of my friendships were shallow, given that I didn't have the opportunity to cultivate more meaningful bonds beyond the confines of school. Now, admittedly, this loss is relatively small. I'm a broke college student on financial aid whose pay was docked this month due to my boss's absence. Together, both my grandmother and I cover the majority of household expenses, and every dollar counts. So now I'm in an even bigger hole. But I was more upset about the fact that she's gone back on an agreement, especially how contemptuous she is of me for having done the same in the past. Now, I told her as much, and she predictably launched into a tirade about how I'm perpetually dishonest. But I haven't lied to her since the previously mentioned moments. I said that it's unfair for her to judge me, especially according to some of my worst moments in my life, and to continue to resent me for exhibiting developmentally appropriate behavior that she'd react to in such an immature manner disproportionate to the offense. Like she would storm away and slam doors and refuse to talk to me for 48 hours and accuse me of wishing that she hadn't been born, especially when I tried to explain why I had felt compelled to lie to her. I asked if she would berate a baby for crying in public or scream at a toddler for climbing something they weren't supposed to. I said if she was too much of a toddler to understand why it's ridiculous to hold a grudge against your child for doing something children typically do, then it is not my problem, and I don't care to waste my time trying to get back in her good graces. I also thanked her for teaching me a valuable lesson, that I am never going to trust her with my money ever again. Well, after that conversation, she stormed off to her room and has texted me the following: "Do not text me, do not call me, and do not email me, because according to you, I'm a 2-year-old, and toddlers are not parents." So am I the jerk in this situation? What should I do? No, I don't think you're the jerk at all. Your mom lied to you, and she basically made you buy Thanksgiving dinner for free. Sure, she gave you some money, but she went back on your verbal deal that yes, she would cover the money. Like, that is honestly so dishonest, it's not even funny. And that would really upset me, especially if I was a student and my budget was so set in stone. Like, I'm willing to bet you don't have a lot of money to throw around in the first place, so the fact that she took advantage of you when you had no money to begin with, like, that is crazy to me, and there's no good excuse. So no, you're not the jerk for telling your mom off, because if I was in your shoes, I would also never trust her with any of my money. Am I the jerk for calling out my friend for her rude comments after she said some brutally harsh things to a mutual friend, all under the guise that she was just being quirky and different? Because right now, I've apparently really offended her, and at this point, I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. I'm a 25-year-old female, and I have a friend who we will call Sarah, who's always been kind of unique. She's one of those people who prides herself on being quirky and different, and while I completely get that, sometimes it crosses a line into being rude or inconsiderate. She will often interrupt people mid-conversation to share her random thoughts, even if it's completely off topic. She's also really loud and makes awkward comments about personal things, such as asking a couple if they'd ever consider an open relationship at a dinner party, or commenting on someone's weight without any kind of filter. I have talked to her about it in a nice way before, saying that sometimes it feels like she's not really paying attention to the social dynamics or how others might feel about her comments, but she brushes it off by saying, "I'm just being myself. You can either take it or leave it." Well, this weekend we were at a gathering, and she made a huge scene by loudly criticizing a mutual friend's new haircut. Now, it was a bad haircut, but she didn't need to say anything. At that point, I finally snapped, and I told her that she's not being quirky, she's just being rude, and it really is starting to get on my nerves. Well, Well, after I said that, she was really upset. She said I was trying to suppress her personality and that I don't appreciate her for who she is. And now she's been ignoring me and our friend group is completely divided. So am I the jerk for calling her out? Or should I just let her continue with her stupid quirky behavior? What should I do? No, you are not the jerk because this really is inconsiderate. It feels like dealing with that one friend who's like brutally honest, where they say what's ever on their mind and then try to be like, well, that's just who I am. I am just a brutally honest person. Take it or leave it. Like that type of person and the person that Sarah is, in my opinion, are cut from the same cloth. But in this case, the delivery is more funny than the other person. And honestly, I can't stand people who act like this. If you're really that socially inept, where you legitimately don't see that you're offending people around you, then that doesn't mean that you're some kind of like bold person. That means, in my opinion, that you're a social pariah, and you clearly have no social skills even to begin with. I mean, come on. Who in their right mind would ask a couple if they've ever considered an open relationship? She had better know that couple really well to ask that kind of question, or she really is just too dumb to see that this is not something you ask people. So no, you're not the jerk for calling her out, because her rude behavior absolutely deserves to have consequences. Because her comments, in my opinion, are incredibly offensive. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist at the top of the description. And if you want some chill music to put on in the background, check out easymode.com. If you like Am I the Jerk, subscribe to Am I the Genius. Everything will be linked down below in the description.